Good morning, students. Welcome to our online class. This is your second period and the subject is political science. Students, we have started chapter 6 from book 2 with the title Recent Developments in Indian Politics. Recent development in Indian politics is the chapter name, that is the chapter 6 as per the revised syllabus of political science, which we have started, and we have studied few topics in the previous two periods. Now students, today through this video or in this video we will cover few more topics which are very important from examination point of view. I suggest my students to watch and listen this lecture with a lot of attentiveness. I hope some questions may be asked from these topics in the board examination. Maybe in the form of objective questions or in the form of short or long question answers. So students, let us start. In the previous period, students, I stopped at UPA government. You know UPA, United Progressive Alliance. It is one of the alliance or alliance, a group of several parties, and the main party is Congress party. So about that UPA, that United Progressive Alliance, we have studied in the previous chapter. Half I have completed. Now once again today in this video, I will give a detailed information about this one. Then I will move forward to some other topics. Listen students, as you know, UPA, United Progressive Alliance. Okay, this is one of the alliance with several other political parties. It was formed in May 2004. It was formed in May 2004. In May 2004, this UPA was formed. First time it was formed, May 2004. It was formed by the Congress and its allied parties. I mean Congress party and the allied, the friend parties, the parties which showed interest to join with the Congress. So on May 2004, this UPA was formed with Congress and its allied parties. Srimati Sonia Gandhi was made the president of UPA. So who was the president of UPA? Party, UPA, that United Progressive Alliance, Progressive Alliance, the president was Srimati Sonia Gandhi. In the Lok Sabha elections that held in 2004, UPA, that United Progressive Alliance, was able to secure 219 seats out of 545 or out of 543, because 543 are elected and 2 are nominated in Lok Sabha. So it managed to get 219 seats and came out as the largest alliance in Lok Sabha. And this United Progressive Alliance is one of the largest alliance in Lok Sabha. This is the biggest alliance ever made with the support of Left Front. This Progressive Alliance was formed with the support of Left Front and left parties, CPI, CPM, like that. Not only left parties, several other political parties also gave their support. They joined with this UPA. UPA formed the government. It formed the government at the center. This UPA government, Congress and its allied parties formed the government, and under the leadership of Manmohan Singh. So who was the first Prime Minister of UPA government? Means here Manmohan Singh, Dr. Manmohan Singh. The Left Front was giving its support by keeping herself away from the government. Though Left Front is one of the allied of UPA, but it kept herself aloof from the government, but it indirectly supported the UPA government. The Left Front was giving outside support to the government. It was not the part of the government. I mean, Left Front was not the part of UPA government, only it gave outward support. After the Lok Sabha elections held in 2009, I mean from 2004, that is one election. Again, the next election was in 2009. So, after the Lok Sabha election held in 2009, the UPA was once again formed the government. I mean, twice the UPA government was formed. Twice. UPA formed the government twice. At the center, again with the Dr. Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister of India. So, this much we have studied. Now, same thing is said here. In the Lok Sabha election that held in 2004, no party was able to get absolute majority. No single party got absolute majority. Congress got more number of seats. So Congress formed alliance with other political parties in order to prove the majority to form the government. Okay. So no single party got absolute majority in the 2004 elections. Congress won only 145. See, Congress party won only 145. If you say individual party 145. But if you combine with allied parties, it proved 219. Alone Congress got 145. But when it joined the hands with other political parties, formed alliance, then its number increased to 219. Already we have studied. And became the largest party in Lok Sabha. BJP had to face a crumbling defeat. In 2004 elections, BJP was completely defeated. As it could not won it could only won 138 seats. I mean, when compared to the Congress party, the BJP got 138, less than Congress party. That's why the President of India first invited that party which secured more number of seats, that is Congress party, and asked it to prove its majority. That's why Congress party, it made friendship with the other political parties to prove the majority and formed UPA, that alliance. Okay, both the parties started making efforts to get the support of other political parties to form the government. Ultimately, most of the non-Congress and non-BJP parties decided to support Congress party and formed UPA under leadership of Sonia Gandhi, that I told you, president, and they elected Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister in the 2004 elections when they formed the government. As a result, Manmohan Singh took oath as the Prime Minister of the country on 22nd May. On 22nd May 2004. Okay. UPA is an alliance of many. It's a group of many political parties. I told you it's a group of many political parties. Okay. Some of them are DMK. Already I told you in the previous one. DMK. Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam. Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam is the full form of DMK, which is a regional party, state party in Tamil Nadu. Another party is also there. AIDMK. Another party is AIDMK. And Tamil Mahila Congress, several parties are there. But here, DMK gave support to Congress party in the UPA government. Similarly, NCP. Okay, NCP in Maharashtra. NCP party is in what? Maharashtra. National Congress Party. Next one. Rashtriya Janata Dal. Okay, RJD. Rashtriya Janata Dal also gave the support. Republican Party of India. Similarly, MDMK, Mahila, Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, and PDP. Okay, of Jammu and Kashmir. In Jammu and Kashmir, PDP is there. People's Democratic Party. People's Democratic Party. At the same time, in Jammu and Kashmir, National Conference Party also there. 2-3 parties are there. So all these are combined together and formed one alliance that is called UPA. The biggest alliance ever formed in 2004. The left parties, I mean CPA, CPM, they gave their outward support to this UPA, but they have not took part in the UPA government. Already told to you. Okay. After Lok Sabha 2019, after the Lok Sabha elections of 2004, again the elections in 2009, in that elections also again UPA got majority and they formed the government again under the leadership of Manmohan Singh. Now move to next topic, that is Ayodhya dispute. About Ayodhya dispute we will read. So what is Ayodhya dispute, when this was started, etc. So a detailed information I am telling you about this Ayodhya dispute. Listen carefully, students. Ayodhya dispute. a dispute has been going on many decades. There was a dispute which was going on since many decades over the mosque known as Babri Masjid. I repeat once again, there was a dispute which was carried since many decades over the mosque which is known as Babri Masjid at Ayodhya. So the dispute was over Babri Masjid, a mosque in Ayodhya, and the dispute was since many decades. A decade means 10 years. The masjid was built in the 16th century. When the masjid was built, Babri Masjid, 16th century, when Mughals were there. When Mughals were there, Mughal rule was there in India, at the time they built the Babri Masjid in the 16th century. Imagine. Hindus believe that the masjid was built after demolishing a temple of Rama or Lord Rama in what is believed to be his birthplace. I mean, Hindu people, they argue that, they says that this Babri Masjid, which was built during 16th century, during Mughal period, that was built after demolishing the Hindu temple of Lord Rama, which was there at Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Rama. So Hindus are claiming like that. No, earlier there was our Hindu temple, Ram temple was there, Lord Rama temple was there. Actually, this is Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Rama, according to Ramayana. So earlier there was a temple of Lord Rama, but during Mughal period, the Muslim rulers, they demolished all the Hindu temples. In that place, they constructed what? Mosques, which is called Babri Masjid. So there the dispute started. Okay. The dispute, Ram Mandir, the temple of Lord Rama. The dispute, Ram Mandir and Babri Masjid, started at Ayodhya. This issue was started from then onwards. Okay. When the Faziabad district court ordered, Faziabad, or I can say Faizabad, best Faizabad. Faizabad is a place in Uttar Pradesh. So Faizabad district court ordered that the gates of the Babri Masjid be unlocked, so that Hindus could offer prayers at the site which they considered as the temple. So initially, who gave the judgment? First, the dispute went to the Faizabad district court. What dispute went? The dispute of Ram Mandir and Babri Masjid. Hindus and Muslims both complained there. So the Faizabad district court ordered the gates of Babri Masjid should be locked. Should be unlocked. The gates should be open. The gates of Babri Masjid should be open. Every mosque will have a very big door in front of the masjid or mosque. So the Faizabad district court ordered that to unlock the gates of Babri Masjid, so that Hindu people can go inside and do their prayers, offer their prayers at the site. Like that the court ordered, which they considered to be a temple, because Hindu believe that long back there was a temple. And today it is independent India. Mughal rule is ended. No more Mughal rule is there. So naturally Hindu claims that since it's independent India, this is a Hindu country. Secular, but Hindu country. Secular country actually I can say, because number of religions are there. But Hindus are majority. Since it was the Ayodhya place, the birthplace of Lord Rama, earlier there was a temple there. So they said that we will go and offer the prayers over there at that site. As the locks of the Babri Masjid were open, when the locks were unlocked, both Muslims and Hindu organizations tried to mobilize their communities on the issue. When the doors were opened, when the doors were unlocked, both Muslim community people and Hindu community people, both they had conflict. They entered into that one dispute. Suddenly the local dispute became a national issue. So this was a local dispute earlier in Faizabad district. But soon this dispute became a national issue. The dispute became a national issue. This large scale mobilization led to surcharged atmosphere and many instances of communal violence. So when dispute became national issue, so everywhere there was Hindu-Muslim conflicts, Hindu-Muslim disputes. Both are fighting against, in favor of them. Okay, both are claiming that is their first Babri Masjid was there, no Ram Mandir was there. Hindu says that no Ram Mandir was there, it was broken and constructed Babri Masjid. So there is a communal riots started over there and throughout India. The situation became very tense. Tense situation became in the 1990s. The situation of Babri Masjid and Ram Mandir, this issue became a tense situation in 1990s, which when the BJP and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad announced the decision to go ahead with the construction of Ram Mandir at Ayodhya. So what happened once in 1990s, the BJP government, after the formation, when the BJP government formed in 1980, I told you in the previous period, when the BJP party formed in 1980, then they promised that what? If their party will come to power, one day, definitely they'll construct what? The Ram Mandir temple in the place of Babri Masjid, but demolishing that one. They announced it like that. Okay. So the situation became very tense in 1990s when the BJP party and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad announced their decision to go ahead with the construction of Ram Mandir at Ayodhya. They said that we will construct a Ram Mandir temple or Rama temple at Ayodhya in this place. They promised. They gave their word if their party will come to power. In December 1992, listen, this is very, very important. Very, very important date. In December 1992, the organizations, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, supporting the construction of the temple, had organized a car seva, K-A-R-S-E-V-A, seva. Car seva means what? Walking with the help of a stick, not going through car. Your car seva means people, they walked on foot, I can say, with the help of a stick, carrying a stick. So in December 1992, the organizations, Vishwa Hindu Parishad or Vishwa Parishad, supporting the construction of the temple, had organized a car seva, a voluntary service. You can say car seva is a voluntary service. What is car seva? Car seva is a voluntary service by the devotees of Lord Rama, for the construction of Ram Mandir. Thousands of people assembled from all over the country at Ayodhya. So this car seva was invited, that voluntary organization, the voluntary service organization invited all the people who are supporting Lord Rama or Ram Mandir. They were invited from all over India, and all the people gathered at Ayodhya. All the people gathered at where? Ayodhya on December 6, 1992. On December 6, 1992, the people who belong to the car seva from all over India, on the call, they assembled there at Ayodhya and demolished the Babri Masjid. They broken that Babri Masjid. When they broken the Babri Masjid, who will be hurted? Muslims will be hurted here. Their religious feelings will be hurted. This led to communal clashes. The demolition of Babri Masjid by the car sevaks, led to what? The communal clashes, the communal conflicts, religious conflicts between Muslims and Hindus in many parts of the country. The incident held at where? Ayodhya. But the issue spread throughout India, and everywhere there was a communal riots between Hindus and Muslims. Mumbai saw the worst communal riots in 1993. In Mumbai, these communal riots were seen more in 1993. The demolition of Babri Masjid at Ayodhya led to many other serious developments. This demolition of Babri Masjid at Ayodhya led to many other serious developments in the country. The state government with the BJP, at that time BJP government was there at where? Uttar Pradesh. BJP government was there at Uttar Pradesh. That's why they gave the decision like that, Faizabad High Court. So the state government with BJP as the ruling party and the Kalyan Singh as the chief minister. Who was the chief minister at that time? Kalyan Singh. Which party was ruling over there in Uttar Pradesh? BJP. So the BJP with the chief minister Kalyan Singh was dismissed by the center, and the president rule was imposed there. So the BJP party which was ruling in Uttar Pradesh was dismissed by the president because of religious conflicts in Uttar Pradesh, and they also dismissed the chief minister Kalyan Singh. Who dismissed Kalyan Singh and who dismissed the ruling party BJP? The center, president, and imposed president's rule in that state. So there for a long time there was a presidential rule was there in Uttar Pradesh. Some other states where BJP was in power were also put under president rule. Not in Uttar Pradesh. Other states in India, wherever BJP was in rule, those states where BJP was in rule, there also the presidential rule was announced by the President of India. A case against the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Kalyan Singh, a case against the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh was registered in the Supreme Court. Okay, Supreme Court for contempt of court. For contempt of court, since he had given an undertaking that the dispute structure Babri Masjid would be protected at all the costs. A case was filed against the Kalyan Singh, the CM of Uttar Pradesh, against the contempt of court. Contempt of court means what? Whenever you are not obeying the decisions of the court, whenever you are going against the court, then against the contempt of court, a case will be filed on you. Same thing happened. What? The central contempt of court, the case was filed against them. Okay, because he said that he will protect the Babri Masjid, but what happened? During his tenure only, during his rule only, the Babri Masjid was demolished. So whatever he said to Supreme Court, that he was not followed. Hence, on the basis of the contempt of court, this Kalyan Singh was dismissed, and a case was filed in the Supreme Court against him. The central government appointed a commission. The central government appointed a commission to investigate into the circumstances, that led to the demolition of Babri Masjid. What are the reasons why this Babri Masjid was demolished? Who demolished that one? With whose call it was demolished? So a commission was appointed to make an inquiry that what are the circumstances that led to the demolition of Babri Masjid, and who is responsible for that one. Most of the political parties other than BJP, leading to the demolition of Babri Masjid. I repeat once again, most of the political parties other than BJP leading to the demolition of Babri Masjid, they were involved. Most of the political parties other than the BJP condemned, please, I'm taking back my words. Here, most of the political parties other than BJP, condemned the demolish. BJP supported demolition of Babri Masjid, but other than non-BJP political parties in India, non-BJP political parties means other than BJP political party, other than BJP parties. So the non-BJP political parties, they condemned the demolition of Babri Masjid. That is not correct. They opposed the demolition of Babri Masjid and declared that this was against the principles of secularism, because our country is a secular country. Many religions are there. All religions should be treated equally. All religions are equal in the eyes of law. So we have not followed the secular principles, and we demolished the Babri Masjid. We hurted the feelings of Muslims. So that was happened. Now, at present, the dispute regarding Babri Masjid is laying in the Supreme Court of India. This sentence is given the textbook, but this problem was solved. The BJP government, the present BJP government, when it got a second term, when it came to power second time, recently, they announced, the Supreme Court announced, they gave the judgment, and the judgment was in the favor of what? Hindus, for the construction of Ram Mandir. And recently, on 16th August, I think so, 16th August our Modi ji went and he laid the foundation stone for the construction of Ram Mandir. So this dispute, which was there for several decades, now was ended smoothly. Okay, now going to another important topic. One Hindu-Muslim riot took place in Gujarat. Hindu-Muslim riots, RIOTS, riots. Both Hindus and Muslims, there was again conflicts, communal riots was there. It took place in Gujarat. Why this incident took place? What was the result? Let us see. In February or March 2002, in February or February and March 2002, December, in February and March 2002, a large-scale violence against Muslims took place in Gujarat. Actually, Gujarat state is a neighboring state to Pakistan. You should remember that one. So, in February and March 2002, a large-scale violence took place in Gujarat against Muslims. The immediate cause. What was the cause for this violence against Muslims? Listen carefully. The immediate cause of this violence. The immediate cause of this violence. The immediate cause of this violence was an incident. The immediate cause of Hindu-Muslim riots in February and March 2002 at Gujarat. The cause was, the incident was what? An incident that took place at Godhra. Godhra is a place in Gujarat. One incident took place in Gujarat. One incident took place in Gujarat, a place called Godhra. 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 And this incident took place in Godhra railway station. This incident took place in Godhra railway station in Gujarat. I am telling, see, a bogie, here BOGEY, bogie means what? A compartment of train. A compartment of the railway train. So a bogie of the train that was returning from Ayodhya. A bogie of a train returning from Ayodhya was set on fire, as a result of which 87 car sevaks died. I repeat once again. The incident took place in Gujarat at Godhra railway station. There what happened? A bogie of the railway train that was returning from Ayodhya. Okay, a train was coming from Ayodhya, okay, to Gujarat. Then in one bogie, fire was set out. Okay, was set on fire, as a result of which 57 car sevaks who went to demolish what? Babri Masjid, those people. Those 57 car sevaks died in that, burnt alive in that bogie. See, 57 car sevaks burnt alive in the bogie. Now, whom you will suspect? Tell me that one. When car sevaks mean they are Hindus. Now, ultimately, whom you suspect? You will suspect Muslims only. See what happened. Suspecting the hand of Muslims in setting the bogie on fire. When car sevaks were killed or they burnt in that bogie alive, then naturally the suspect will be on Muslims only, because Muslims might have done this one because they were angry when the Babri Masjid was demolished in Ayodhya, and that were demolished with these car sevaks only. So to take revenge against the car sevaks, maybe some Muslim people might have set fire on this bogie, fire in this bogie. So set on fire, a Muslim in setting the fire on the bogie. Large scale, when this incident took place, a large scale violence against Muslims. So Hindu people killed here, car sevaks were killed, and suspecting was Muslim people. So Hindu people got very angry, suspecting Muslims are the cause for this one. Hence, a large scale violence took place in Gujarat against Muslims were suspected that they are the people who might have set a fire in the bogie of railway which coming from that Ayodhya. Real, we don't know what is the issue. So 57 car sevaks were killed, and all Indians suspected, Gujarati people, they suspect that Muslims are having the hand in this one. Hence, the non-Muslim people, Hindus, they started mass violence, large scale violence against Muslims in many parts of Gujarat. Okay, from the very next day onwards it was started. The violence continued for about a month. This violence against Muslims by non-Muslims carried a month, in which around 1100 people, mostly Muslims, were killed. The riots, communal problems, the riots between Hindus and Muslims were strongly condemned throughout the country. Everybody condemned this issue. They condemned that Godhra issue, they condemned the violence against Muslims also. And even outside, not only throughout India, but abroad also many people condemned this issue, the violence against Muslims. The National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, the NHRC criticized the Gujarat government role in failing to control violence. The National Human Rights Commission, they blamed the then means at that time whichever government was there in Gujarat. So the Human Rights Commission, they condemned Dadar Gujarat government, which was in rule at the time, that it is unable to control the violence against Muslims in Gujarat and unable to provide relief to the victims and prosecute the perpetrators of violence. Such incidents base a greater danger. Such incidents, base a greater danger to religious harmony. This type of incidents are very, very dangerous for the religious harmony in the country and democratic politics in the country. So this is about the incident I told you. Now let us move into some other topics, that is already told you about the Mandal Commission. Okay, let me explain once from the beginning so that you can understand better. Okay students, 5 minutes. One long term development of this period, of this period means what? From 1990s. One long term development of this period was the rise of other backward classes in the political force, as a political force. Since 1990s, other backward class people, they were united and they formed an organization and they entered into political scene. OBC, they are called OBC, other backward caste. I repeat, one long-term development of this period was the rise of other backward classes as a political force. OBC as a political force. Here OBC refers to the administrative category, other backward classes. These are communities. These other backward classes are the communities other than SC and ST. OBCs are not ST and SC people. Other than ST, SC people, these OBCs are there, other backward class people who suffer from education and social backwardness. These OBC people are always suffering socially and educationally. They are what? Suffering a lot. These are also referred to as what? Backward caste. We can say they are called backward caste also. So now Mandal implemented the topic. In 1980s, listen, in 1980s, the Janata Dal government brought together a similar combination of political groups with a strong supporting among the OBCs. Janata Dal party, it brought all the OBC people together into strong force. I repeat, in the 1980s, the Janata Dal party brought together a similar combination of political groups with a strong support among the OBCs. The decision of the National Front government, which once it came to power, National Front, the decision of the National Front government to implement the recommendations of Mandal Commission further helped in shaping the politics of other backward classes. So who implemented this Mandal Commission report? Janata Dal government. The Janata Dal government only, the National Front government. It is the National Front government. That implemented the recommendations of Mandal Commission into effect, into practice. The intense national debate. An intense national debate. For and against. Some people supported the voice of the OBCs. Some people opposed the voice of OBC. Generally, who might have opposed? SC and ST people might have opposed, whereas other people, they might have supported. So there was an intense national debate in the country, for and against of reservations in jobs, government jobs and other education institutions, central government jobs and other education institutions regarding reservations to OBCs. So there was a debate on giving the reservations to the OBCs in the central government jobs and also other education institutions. Some people supported, some people opposed that one. And people from the OBCs communities more aware of this identity. Thus, it helped those who wanted to mobilize these groups into politics. So, other political parties taking this advantage, they said to the OBCs, if OBCs will support them, then that political party, when they will come to power, they will implement reservations to OBCs. So every political party took the advantage of this OBC's demand. This period saw the emergence of many parties. In that time, many political parties emerged in India, many regional parties that sought better opportunities for OBCs. Every political party claims that if they will come to political parties, if the OBC people will support that political party, and the political party, if they'll come to power, then they will implement the recommendations for OBCs, or the recommendations and recommendations for reservations of OBCs. So every political party take advantage of this one. And they said that if they'll come to power, they'll give reservations to OBC people in all central government jobs and education and also employment. And also raised the question of the share of power enjoyed by the OBCs. These parties, those who want to take advantage of OBCs support, these parties claimed that since OBCs constitute a large segment of Indian society, generally in our country India, OBC percentage people are more. SC, ST and general candidates, apart from these three, OBC population percentage is more. So the parties claimed that since OBCs constituted a large segment of Indian society, it was only democratic that the OBC should get adequate representation. When their number is more, naturally they should be given what? Reservations. Moreover, they are educationally and socially backward. So represent the administration and have their due share in the political power. Now, the Mandal Commission. What is Mandal Commission? Listen carefully. What is Mandal Commission? Reservations for the OBCs. I repeat. What is Mandal Commission? Reservations for the OBC were in existence in southern states. Actually, OBC people are given reservations in southern states of India like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, all these states. But such thing was not there in North Indian states. Listen, reservations for the OBCs were there in existence in southern states before this Mandal Commission. Before this Mandal Commission, reservations were given to OBC people in southern states. Since 1960s, they were given reservations in southern states. What? OBC people. It was not earlier, but before 1960 it was not there. But this policy was not operative in northern states of India. Giving reservations to OBC people was not there in northern states. It was during the tenure of Janata Party or Janata Party government. When the Janata Party government was there in power from 1977 to 1979, 2 years. Okay, that the demand for reservations for backward classes in North India and at the national level was strongly raised. So it was during Janata Party rule or the Janata government rule in 1977-79, during that period, people raised their voice in North Indian states also to give reservations to OBC people in North India. Karpuri Thakur, remember the name, Karpuri Thakur, then Chief Minister of Bihar. Karpuri Thakur was the Chief Minister of Bihar at that time, was a pioneer, the main person in this direction. She only, Karpuri Thakur, the Karpuri Thakur, the Chief Minister, strongly supported for this demand for reservation of OBCs. His government had introduced a new policy of reservation for OBC. So this Karpuri Thakur in Bihar, they declared that they are giving reservations to OBCs in Bihar state. Okay. Now, the central government then appointed a commission in 1978. At that time, whichever central government was there, that central government in 1978 appointed a commission. What? To inquire regarding the grievances of the socially and educational backward people in India. So the central government appointed a commission in 1978 to look into and recommend the way to improve the conditions of the other backward classes. So one commission was appointed and the commission was instructed to go around throughout North Indian states and inquire how much OBC category people are there and what are their sorrows and grievances to make a report. The commission was officially known as what? Second Backward Class Commission. This Mandal Commission officially called the Second Backward Classes Commission. The Second Backward Classes Commission called Mandal Commission. Okay, popularly known as what? The commission with the name what? Mandal Commission. And it was headed by what? Bindeswari Prasad Mandal. BP Mandal. Who is head of the Mandal Commission? Bindeswari Prasad what? Mandal. So this is about Mandal Commission. So students, it is around 40 minutes. So I am stopping it here. Some more topics are there that we will cover in the next period. With that we will complete the chapter. Thank you students. I suggest both my students to read the textbook on those topics which I taught today. Hope you have understood. Thank you very much. Take care.